Yeah.
How are you? Can I go in?
Actually,
Which is the loudspeaker?
it's right here.
Okay.
Where's Marlene?
Is Bob here? Oh, yeah?
Not
Yeah.
yet. You want him back? Oh,
Well,
fine.
When do you want to start this?
Now.
Okay. Yeah, sure we do.
Yeah.
Good.
Chris Collins. Can everybody hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Hello on this beautiful sunny day. Aren't we happy to be in Elma today?
We are.
I am.
All right. Got that.
I would like the members of the Hurd family, the Briggs family, the Jackson family, Tyler's family, Yergis, anyone that's a descendant of the Hurds or the Briggs, to please stand up so we can recognize you. Come on, there's more than that.
Yeah, there's hands over there.
Good. There's this gentleman sitting here, John and Tanya Velasco. They're from Ohio, and they want to meet some of you. They are descendants of Augusta Hurd. And now, as for the other Tylers, are you here from Michigan? Okay. Is there any other states represented? Pennsylvania? He's holding up his hands. He's New York. Okay. I want to welcome everyone in this beautiful day. We live in such an age of technology. It's so hard to imagine the industrial age that was over 100 years ago. We have a book in our library called Mills, and it was given to us by Brian Safransky. And the book was dedicated to the millwrights and laborers who a century ago raised up stone upon stone to create the industrial age of their time. Our volunteers have recreated the Hurd and Briggs mill that stood in this very spot using the tools and technology that was used by Mr. Hurd and Mr. Briggs over 100 years ago. Today we pay tribute to the builders of all the original mills in Elma and the creation of our great community. We especially pay tribute to our volunteers who worked so hard for 3 years to bring history back to Elma. Thank you. I'd like to introduce the Honorable William Bowler. There you go. He has to play this mic.
All right. Thank you, Marlene. We have the minister here, but I'll say thank God for the sunshine. So, at this time, I'd like to introduce Reverend Gossel. He's the minister of our church at the Ebenezer United Church of Christ in Ebenezer.
I have to say, at our church, we throw up a parking lot prayer for days like this. There's a whole story behind that. You can ask me later. But it is a joy to be here, and it's great that it's finally, the sunshine is out. But we pause for a moment this day to remember and to begin this dedication ceremony in a prayerful attitude. Our thoughts return this weekend to men and women who have served our country in the cause of freedom. But we also remember and honor all those who trailblazed for us to follow, for all those who have inspired us to become the people, the community we are, the good people of Elma and her friends. History is a precious gift, a place from which we learn and grow, the foundation upon which we build and renew and restore, a gift for which we give thanks. Consider the people who have given us life and who have inspired us to keep creating a future that is brighter and filled with hope and promise. We call to our minds the memory of people like Clark W. Hurd and Joseph B. Briggs, who dug this mill race from the Buffalo Creek and constructed a dam to divert water for the purpose of building a sawmill. Lumber helped to begin a long, rich history here in the town of Elma. We pray blessings upon the town of Elma and her people, the community. Help us to honor all those who have gone before us, those early men and women who created the footings upon which we stand. Help us to honor others who followed, like Merle and Edith Bowler, who celebrated history and inspired their children, their daughter Holly and their son William, and help them to be a special part of the community. Help us to honor people who continue making this sawmill a dream, this sawmill dream to recreate a place that was a source of energy and life become a new reality. And we honor all those who inspire us to give our own hearts and minds. Bless all who keep memory alive in order that we can rely on the collective wisdom of the past in order to keep creating a beautiful future. We pray that the God of us all breathe into us the life, the courage, the inspiration, the hope, and the love that has gone into creating this mill. In this hour, we invite the Divine Spirit to be among us, that we might celebrate and take fresh steps into the future, thanks to a wonderful, rich history. Help us to dedicate this mill, these grounds, and our lives to the memory of the past and to the faithful service of the men and women who have brought us to this time and this place. Lift our hearts and minds, O God, to be mindful of history and celebrate all the great gifts we have received. Amen.
Thank you. Is Fred and Frank, where are you? Good. Is Bob Rice in the audience? Bob, if you are, could you come up? Okay. This is Fred Masiewski. I'm sorry, it was Fred Streif and Frank Masiewski. They are the builders of the mill. I'm going to turn it over to them.
I see there's enough people speaking here, so I'm going to keep it very short. But one of the things, I think there's quite a list of contributors and people from Alma that helped us with the mill, and without their help, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Like a special thanks to Elp Steel, and J.D. Cousins helped us an awful lot. There's a group of people who helped us with the wall here, with Creative Concrete, and Jack Lawrence. They're just, yes, they're all in the program, but there's been so much help out of these people. We had Robbie Struck, Excavation, who helped us a lot, and Northern Construction. But without the help of the community, we just wouldn't have been able to do it. And thank you. Frank.
You see, Fred and myself here, we're two of the builders, but there's one more we have to mention, and that's Donnie Moeller. Donnie Moeller, when we first started the program, Fred and I were at the barn and just talking over our plans, how we were going to go about building the water wheel. And lo and behold, Donnie Moeller came around the corner and said, "What are you guys doing?" And I said, "We're going to make a water wheel." And all of a sudden, Donnie was gone, and Fred said to me, "Where did Donnie go?" And I says, "I haven't the slightest idea." Well, within 20 minutes, Donnie came back with his pickup truck, backed in over by the barn across the way there, took out a portable workbench, his tools, his saws, power tools and things, and he went in to help. So we started out with 3 builders, and if Donnie Moeller didn't have a tool, he went home and got it. If he didn't have it at home, he went out and bought it. That's the kind of guy he was. Donnie Moeller worked with us for a year until he passed away, and we always will remember Donnie Moeller. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce to you our Erie County Executive, Chris Collins.
Thank you, Judge. The story I hear was this was really Edith Bowler's suggestion that this be built. And Judge, I know you have to be proud of your mom for what we're seeing here today and dedicating today. And what I also get a sense of right now is the sense of community in Elma, that so many people have turned out on this beautiful Saturday to celebrate this piece of history. And I know many of you have heard me talk about our vision for Erie County to be a world-class community where people want to live, businesses want to locate, and tourists want to visit. Cultural tourism is a major economic driver, and it's a major emphasis that we put on in Erie County. And this water wheel sawmill will certainly be a destination, as frankly there aren't any others that exist in this area. People are intrigued by their history. We see that with Ancestry.com right now. They want to know the roots. Where did they come from? Why are they here? And throughout Erie County, whether it's the terminus of the Erie Canal or our history with the Underground Railroad, the War of 1812 is being kicked off next June. We have so much history to celebrate in Erie County. I just have to congratulate everyone in Elma for this small piece of history, and I know it's something I'll talk about when we talk to outside groups. So I'm pleased today with no more to say other than there's some whereases which have already been mentioned about Fred, Don, and Frank. But I do therefore today declare May 28, 2011, Hurd and Briggs Sawmill Day in the majestic county of Erie. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. At this time, it's my extreme honor to introduce, probably for one of the last times before he moves on, but our town supervisor, Mike Nolan.
Okay. Move that a little. All right, great. Thank you very much. You know, this is a great event. Watched it really transpire for a lot of years. And to be here on behalf of the residents, to thank the Historical Society and especially Fred and Frank for the amount of work that was done here. You know, from the early planning of having prisoners down here, watching you build it with no plans, watch you build it with no town money. It was a 100% historical society effort. And in this day and age, that's amazing to see so many people pull together for fundraising and to find donations and to go out and find corporate support throughout the community like they did. That's really what the entire town's about. People just getting things done and not asking for them. And that's what's so great about our town. So on behalf of the residents and the town board, we couldn't be prouder of you guys on what you've delivered. A full-fledged tourist attraction in the town of Elma. Not just another ribbon cutting or not just another addition, but this is our true full-fledged tourist attraction, and we thank you for that. We passed this proclamation on Wednesday night at the town board. Whereas in 1845, Clark W. Hurd and Joseph Briggs bought Lot 57, and later in 1856 bought Lot 52 of the Buffalo Creek, and felt it was a good place to build a dam across the creek, and therefore on August 5th, 1845, commenced on the dam. Whereas they lived in the town of Lancaster, they brought a supply of provisions for a few days and did their cooking by fire, and at night had a bed of hemlock boughs with blankets for what cover was needed at that time of year. Whereas the Indians had patches of cornfields on the flats of Lot 52, through which a right-of-way had to be brought before a mill race could commence. Whereas a 14 by 24 board shanty was built, known as the American, for boarding and lodging the men who were to work on the sawmill and race. Whereas the dam was complete and the sawmill was framed and raised before the winter weather set in. The work on the mill race carried on into the winter. Whereas in the summer of 1846, the north side of the mill was in full operation, commencing an era in Elma Village of milling lumber. Whereas history does not mention what happened to the Hurd and Briggs mill, only its foundations remained over the years to remind us where it once stood. Whereas 148 years later, Edith Bowler stood at the mill race wondering if the Elma Historical Society might rebuild the mill on its foundations to bring our history alive. In commencing with the drawing of a water wheel on the floor of the Barn Museum, Fred Streif, Frank Masieski, and Don Moeller began 2 years of dedication in making Edith Bowler's dream come true. Now, therefore, by virtue and authority vested in the town of Elma and the state of New York, we set our seal and band to proclaim May 28, 2011 as a day to honor our founding fathers for labor in establishing the great community of Elma and those of our generation who have made this structure come to life as it was in the 19th century, and encourage all residents to be a part of its dedication. And I see you are.
We forgot to mention one thing. If you look up, you'll see the weather vane. It's handmade by a gentleman here, Louis Zimmerman. Where are you, Louis? Louis, stand up. This is the guy that made the vane.
Do you want to say a few words? No, I didn't. I want to introduce some of our elected officials that took time out of their holiday weekend to come here. I have to tell you, I got a phone call about 25 minutes ago. Our Sheriff Tim Howard was on his way. It just goes to show you anything can happen to anyone. His radiator hose let out. So he said he'll be here at 3 o'clock. I said, why don't you call the state troopers? Maybe they can give you a lift. But we also want to welcome our Elma Town councilmen. We have Councilman Dean Palaio, Dennis Powers, Tom Fallon, Tracy Petrosi, and our highway superintendent, Wayne Clark, who was with me yesterday and others in the rain putting up these tents and putting the stone down. We also want to welcome some of our surrounding town officials, Marilla Town Supervisor George Gertz. Thank you for coming from Marilla. We have Lancaster Town Supervisor Robert Giza, Orchard Park Town Supervisor Janice Colarusso, Erie County Legislator Dino Fideli, West Seneca Town Supervisor and former town judge, we have to remember that, Wally Petrosi. Now, I have to tell you one thing. We have a group of officials here that are near and dear to me, and that's some judges. So I saved the best for last. We have my mentor when I started in the Supreme Court, Justice Russell Biscaglia. Thank you for coming. I know you're out there somewhere. I saw you. And our own, we have two other judges from Elma, a recent immigrant from East Aurora moving into Elma, Supreme Court Justice Fred Marshall. Thank you, Fred, for coming. And of course, Supreme Court Justice and a neighbor down the street, Jay Glonia. Thank you for coming. Now the town judges, my favorite group. Town Justice Bob Pierce. I haven't seen him, but he was the first RSVP card to come back. Is Joe Sikowski out there? All right, there he is. Thank you, Joe. Aurora Town Justice Doug Markey. There he is. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. I just want to say a few remarks on this special day. My sister Holly and I would like to thank all of you for coming out this afternoon to help celebrate the dedication and official opening of the Hurd and Briggs Sawmill. Every Thursday afternoon, volunteers would work at the Elma Museum. And so it was on one Thursday afternoon in 2008 when my mom, Edith Bowler, and Fred Streif walked out the museum door and happened to stroll down the path to the old mill race. Mom asked Fred, "What are those old concrete objects in the mill race?" Fred replied, "Well, Edie, those are the foundations of the old sawmill." And Mom exclaimed, "Wouldn't it be great if we could rebuild the sawmill on its same location?" And the rest, as they say, is history. The mill was built. The building of this mill really shows why Elma is a special place to live. Numerous individuals freely gave of their time, talent, and materials to this wonderful project. Please take the time to read the long list of contributors listed in the program. So many individuals donated so much when asked to help. For this, I will be forever grateful. Time and time again, I would hear that someone was approached in the construction or mechanical community, and once again they found out that it was for the Elma Mill, they would say, no charge, or I will give it to you at cost. But make no mistake, we would not be here today, and my mom's dream would not have become a reality without three men. Fred Streif, Frank Majeski, I said that wrong, I practiced all day and I still screwed up the name. All right, and Don Moeller. It is amazing how much can be accomplished when you have the dedication and commitment of people such as these three men. To them, I give you a special thank you, not only from the Bowler family, but from the community of Elma and really Western New York. Please take the time to tour the mill and look at the mechanics of the project. As we all worked towards this day, it became evident that permits to work on the mill race would be required from both the federal and state governments. We would have a mill, but would we have the natural creek water to run the mill? Another challenge met. I cannot thank enough the help of Supervisor Nolan, Building Inspector Joe Colleran, and my good friend Mark Riemann from Senator Gallivan's office, who made it possible for these permits to become a reality in time. The mill race is over a quarter-mile long, and once the permits were obtained, Fred and Frank made it happen. We have the water to run the mill, and lately, with all this rain, we've had too much water. Just as Clark Hurd and Joseph Briggs knew in 1845, Elma is a great place to live and work. On this Memorial Weekend, we remember our servicemen and women who make it possible for us to live in freedom. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I've been told to say the food. Now, this is the important part. Any party that I'm involved in has got to have food.
Not yet.
Oh, that's right.
The hard part.
Okay.
Where's Fred and Frank?
Got to do the work before we eat, sorry.
Yeah. I got the good scissors.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yay. Now can we eat?
Yes.
All right, there's going to be two food stations, one right here and one in the senior setting. Party on.
Congratulations.
Good. And thanks so much for coming out. Thank you.